And then I would study some more, and then people would come, we'd sing holy songs, and I'd go to bed. And every now and then I'd be invited to go see Maharaji, the guru. And my life had that sameness about it, very simple, very austere. Very delightful, very delightful, very intense. Now, I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is I now think. I'm going to talk to you from within this system. I'm going to explain to you how it all is. I'm going to remind you that there is a place in you that already knows everything I'm going to say, as you'll understand. What the teacher wrote on the slate, the first thing he wrote was, desire is a trap, desirelessness is moksha, or liberation, desire is the creator, desire is the destroyer, desire is the universe. Desire is a trap, desirelessness is moksha, or liberation. Desire is the creator, desire is the destroyer, desire is the universe. You recall Buddha's Four Noble Truths? Buddha went and sat under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya for 7 days, and he saw how it all was, and then he came back to teach. And he said, who will I teach? And he thought, well, gee, I'll lay it on the guys I used to hang out with when I was doing austerities. And they were at Sarnath at the deer park, and he went there, and they were all bugged with him because he was no longer doing austerities, because he wasn't being pure like they were. And so when he came along, they said, let's ignore him, because he's not on the trip anymore. But he came up, and he was all shiny, and light was coming out of him. And so they found themselves, in spite of themselves, honoring him. And he sat down, and he said, they said, we're not going to listen to you, though, because you don't do the thing anymore. He says, well, I'm enlightened now. And they said, yeah, but you don't do the thing. He said, but I never before told you I was enlightened, and now I'm telling you I'm enlightened. And I'm going to tell you how it is. And then he proceeded to lay on them how it is, with 4 truths. Truth number 1, all life is suffering. That's hard. What does that mean? Birth involves suffering, death involves suffering, sickness involves suffering, old age involves suffering, not getting what you want involves suffering, getting what you don't want involves suffering. And he says even getting what you want involves suffering because it's in time and it's going to pass away. Say you want to be the playmate of the month, you become the playmate of the month, and next month you're not the playmate of the month anymore. Lay not up treasures where moth and rust doth corrupt, was Christ's way of saying. The problem is if it's in time, you're going to lose it. So even getting what you want has an element. It's like riding a wave and surfing. The wave's going to end, even in endless summer. His second noble truth was the cause of suffering is craving or desire. If you didn't crave life, you wouldn't fear death. You wouldn't suffer. If you don't crave something, you can't suffer about it. Third noble truth is if you give up craving, you end suffering. And the fourth noble truth is the eightfold path, or the means of giving up craving. Giving up craving, giving up desire. Now my teacher, who is a Hindu, is saying to me, desire is a trap, desirelessness is liberation. Desirelessness is liberation. What does all that mean? What it means is extricating oneself from attachment. It means, quote, renunciation. And what does renunciation mean? To us Westerners, it means a guy like Milarepa sitting in a cave where he's been eating green nettles and he's covered with nettle fur and he looks like a bag of bones and you got to give up everything. Well, it has nothing necessarily to do with that at all. Because what is required on this trip is renunciation of attachment. Renunciation of attachment. Dropping out, not in the external sense, but in the internal sense. It doesn't matter what the external trip is. Any one of them will do. the internal process that changes. Now, how do you do that? And what is that about? And how can I tell you how Ramana Maharshi does Gyan Yoga, the yoga of the mind beating out the mind. It's like Zen. And he says, do the following. He says, just do it relentlessly. Sit down and follow the method of Vichara Atma, the method of self-inquiry. Sit down, you say, who am I?